di KISS Talk kali ini ada Fru yang bakalan ngajakin ngobrol musisi keren asal Malaysia yang saat ini berbasis di New York. Let's say hi to a kid named Rufus. Hi Rufus, how are you?
Hi, how's it? I'm great. How are you?
Oh my god, I'm great. I'm feeling great. And anyway, hasn't it been 2 years since you moved to US?
Yeah, it has. It's actually been slightly more than 2 years. Oh, it's coming close to 3 years now. It's
Oh,
pretty
it's
crazy.
almost 3 years.
Yeah, it's almost
Oh,
3 years.
right. So how is it there? Like, is there any culture shock? Is there any interesting stories that you can tell us about?
Oh my god, there's so many interesting stories. I mean, things I could probably like talk about, and things I definitely cannot say on Indonesian radio. Period.
Oh,
But
okay.
Just like but I think like my whole album essentially sort of talks about culture shock because
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much of a difference it would be. I think moving from Malaysia to the U.S. I thought I was well prepared. I was obsessed with like moving to like New York City at a very young age, and it was a very big goal of mine. So I think like when I moved here, I realized that like the language is different, the way that we spell things is different, like everything is different. So it's almost like, oh my god, I'm like I speak their language, but not really. And then also, I think just culturally there are some like very big differences. It's a very big country. Things are spread out. I was very homesick very quickly because I moved on my own. My parents were still in Malaysia. I moved during the pandemic. There's no like going back home.
Okay.
It wasn't really an option, right? Because I moved in 2021. It was still like when the borders were closed. And also and then also like I had to learn everything on my own. I got my driver's license in the US. I got my first job in the US. I learned how to like pay taxes in the US. I had to learn how to be an adult, and I think there were a lot of different things that were very challenging at the time because I had never done before and I didn't have any sort of guidance. So I think like definitely culture shock in terms of like just how different like life is, but also just like how much responsibility I had as compared to like when I was living in Malaysia. That was like a very big part, and that's like essentially like what like my album is about, and like why I decided that's like it was important that I like write about that.
Oh, okay. It must be hard for you to actually, adapt to the environment and such, like, yeah, it must be hard. And I've heard your album, and it feels like you're really talking about that. And I feel like I'm also feeling it. Like, I'm also really feeling it. Like, I do really want to ask you right now, like, are you okay, man? Are you okay? Like, because I felt like,
No,
man,
I'm great. I'm
that's
awesome.
deep. That's deep.
No, but no. Okay, look. Here's the thing, right? For me, music is very personal. That's how I like deal with my emotions.
Right,
So
right.
I feel like I need to write it. I need to sing it. I need to be able to like put it from like 9 to pen, and then like pen to laptop, and really like songwriting is okay. So you know how like for those of you that like go to therapy, right? Your psychiatrist,
Okay.
like your counselor would say journal. Like it's like a very important thing. So you can like put your thoughts down. You can like reflect on them. And I think for me, I never liked the idea of journaling because I write songs. That's like what I do.
Right.
Lyrics, like that's how I like get through a lot of my emotions and my thoughts. So my songs might be deep, but they help me get through everything that I'm getting through. So while they might be like, oh my god, that's crazy, Rufus, are you like good, bro? Like what? I truly am fine, and I mean I feel like if I wasn't, but that's I that's so funny that you asked that.
Because I don't know, man. I feel like you're really going through it. Like you were really going, like you were really struggling into that. So and just into adapting in general.
Well,
And-
yeah, definitely. Like I think, look, let me tell you something, kids. For anyone that's listening to this, moving across the world is difficult, yeah, one, but also like being an adult. I think transitioning from like when you're like a teenager to like having an adult, having a job,
Right,
having
right.
responsibilities, it's a very big jump. I don't think you're either prepared for it or you're not. And if you weren't prepared for it, it's very difficult to prepare for something like that.
Yeah,
I think
right,
it's something
right.
you have to sort of like just live and then you just have to figure it out. And for me, I think it just happened very early on. Like I moved at 18, and then I also moved. I couldn't go home. That wasn't an option. And I was literally on my own. I started from scratch. Like that's very difficult to do. So I think like that's why everything that I talked about, I think my like emotions were so intense in the songs that I wrote for the album. But it's that's just life, you know. That's just how it is. Yeah,
it's just how it is, man.
Yeah, it's just how it is.
And before we get to talk to talk about your album, I'm just curious, like, is there a song about you broke your nose back in the days when you were 10 years old?
No. But it's really funny that you brought that up because I actually did break my nose when I was 10 years old.
Yeah, you did break your nose, right?
I did. I have not written a song about it, but that did happen. That was something that, like, how did you know that? Was that a guess?
Yeah, of course. You're Rufus, man.
Bro, is this
I have to know.
Shit? What the hell's going on?
No, I'm not Naruto, bro. No, but I heard. I know. I just know, man. I just know.
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen, man?
How did that happen?
Tell us the story.
We were in Phuket, me and my family. My mom and dad came back from the bar, and they like knocked out. My aunt woke up, and she was like, "Rufus, can you make me some tea?" So I went to the kitchen and made her tea. Mind you, it was probably like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was 10, right? So I'm usually not up that late. So
Okay.
I made her tea, and then it was like a resort. It was like a villa, right? So like there's a glass door, there's a pool, so you have to like walk, then go to the guest room.
Mm-hmm.
I walked into the glass door.
So you walked into the glass door, and then
I sort of like I was speed walking, and I was holding a hot tea.
Oh, right.
And I like hit my whole face against the glass thing because I didn't realize it was closed. I thought I had opened it.
Oh, you didn't see?
Right.
You didn't know that was a glass, right?
Yeah, I literally hit the glass mirror. I know I was an idiot. But I like properly like actually like chipped off like quite a bit of like bone.
Yeah, you had that hum, right?
Yeah, I did. It just sort of grew over, so there's kind of like a hump on my nose, but it happened a very long time ago, so now it's like it doesn't really look like it. But if you like feel it, yeah, it is uneven, and that was because of like when that happened.
That's actually, that's actually kind of interesting to me. That's why I asked you, man. And by the way, congratulations on your brand new album, Whatever Works, and tell us a story about that. Like, what inspires you to make the album? How do you come up with the idea and such?
Yeah, I think like I said, I was writing to just sort of understand my emotions as I was like month after month. I was kind down every single thing that I had done, how I was making progress. I feel like when I moved here, I had goals for myself, and I was working very hard to achieve them. But also, I was trying to get used to life in the US because I didn't realize how difficult and also how different it would be, just because of all the different subtle changes culturally, physically, and so I was like, okay, I want to write as many songs as I can, and then I want to compile them into an album. And then I got offered a record label deal within my first year of moving. I had put out my EP that I wrote actually entirely in KL in my bedroom, and I put it out my first year of college, and it did really, really well. And I signed a record label deal that pretty much changed my life. It gave me an opportunity to have a work visa here and be able to actually live in the US and do music instead of just being on a school visa. And it also gave me the opportunity to write with a lot of really cool people. It gave me the opportunity to do music videos. It gave me the opportunity to just work with so many people that I would have never thought And so I was like, okay, they want an album. They don't want just an EP or singles. They want an album. And initially I was hesitant because I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of music. But as I was going through everything I wrote over the course of the year, I was like, I have so much actually that I kind of like want to share, that an album makes
Right.
sense. And the reason why I called it Whatever Works is because I think when you're dealing with so much change, it is difficult to have control. So sometimes what you have to do is let go of it and just kind of go with the flow. And that's why I'm like, so, anytime something changes, I'm like, okay, screw it, whatever works. I'll just like sort of do like as things, that's why I called it that. And I feel like that was just some of the attitudes I had to have as I was, going, just like dealing with all these different like big life situations and like life lessons and stuff like that. Yeah.
That was nice, man. And you've started. What really? I'm sorry. What really caught my attention is your music artwork, actually. And there is a lot of purple and yellow. And is there any stories behind this artwork, man?
Oh, that's so funny. Well, firstly, thank you. It's definitely like one of my favorite. I'm really big. I love art. When I was a kid, I started singing when I was 6, but like my first like real extra like co-curricular activity that I did, right? Because like you have to do something like after school, right?
Okay.
Like growing up, right? Like from standard 1 up until like form 5. Or well, not only form 5, but like when you're like in primary school, like you always have something to do after school, either sports or arts. And I never was a sports person. I always got bullied because I was much younger, I was much smaller, I was not good at football, I was not good at anything. So, but what I realized was that I was really good at art. And so the first thing I did was I started painting. So there was like a painting club, and there was like an arts and crafts club. And so that was like the first thing I did. So and then I got into visual art. I got into like sketching and drawing, and then that eventually turned into graphic design. So, I still I don't do it. I just know how to do it, right? Because I'm very focused on my music, and so I love art. I love visual, and so I'm very like particular about it. For this cover art, what happened? What I did was, I was in class. I was really bored, and I had just bought my new iPad, and I had Procreate on it. And so I drew basically like a very similar version of...
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, this is cool. I want this to be the album artwork. And what I did was I commissioned an artist. His name is Rob Davis. He's based in the UK, in Manchester. And I reached out to him because I loved his artwork. I loved his art style, and I was like, can you recreate this drawing that I made in your art style? And so he did it, and that was literally that was one try. You didn't have to make any revisions. And yeah, that ended up being the cover art.
So you drew it yourself first, and then you asked him to do it,
someone.
Right? Oh, you had someone. Okay.
Yeah. We had Rob basically recreated what I did.
Yeah, shout out to Rob, man. Shout out to Rob. It's a good cover art, man.
Thank you. He also did the canvas too. He animated it and everything. So shout out Rob. Yeah, he does. He does the art, and then he was so new to doing animations too. But I was like, could we possibly get this for the Spotify thing? And he said, I will try. And he did it. He killed it. He did pretty much all the album visuals.
Man.
And yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he killed it for sure. And you started your music since 2019, right? What is the biggest difference between the 2019 Rufus and now?
Well, 2019 Rufus was 16 years old. 2023 Rufus is 21.
That's on the sound, man. The sound of your music and such,
Well, duh. When I started making music, I was making a lot of pop, and I think when I moved to the US, I just got put onto a lot more music. I started listening to a lot more rock and alternative and indie. A lot of more underground artists, or not necessarily underground artists. I feel artists that are more the US only, like only, you know, like they're like more local to like,
Yeah, they're
say,
more local, right?
Philly, or like they're like Austin, like very like niche, a lot of folk music too, right? And it's like very like American, it's like from the South and stuff. And it was really cool because I don't think I like had explored those genres like living in Malaysia, not for any reason, I don't think, but so I've definitely, and I've fallen in love with rock again. I've fallen in love with alternative music, and so I think like that was the direction for the record. I like when I started, and like when I like started making music and releasing music and like doing it professionally, I was doing a lot of pop. So I think like ultimately, like when I write, I like have a pop production like standpoint. But it was really cool, like using real instruments, real drums, like guitar into an amp, not just like my interface, like having different types of microphones for like different instruments. It was just really cool. I had like never like produced on that scale before, and so like sonically there's just like a huge difference, you know. Like I feel like this album compared to like maybe my first single is just night or day, because it's like a record. There are like people involved. There's a drummer, there's a bassist, there's like guitar, there are synths, there are like, it's just, you know, like produced out, and like the lyrics are just much better. And also like I'm an adult and I've lived a lot more life and I have a lot more stories to tell. I think when I was 16, there's only so much a 16-year-old knows, but like I said, I turned 21 in a couple months, and like I've lived a lot more life. I have a lot more stories to tell, and the beautiful thing is that I will keep getting better and better as like the more that I put into this. Like it's crazy how much has changed in like the last 5 years, you know. Like I'm excited for like the next 5 and to keep going after that.
We're also excited to see you, you know, growing up as a musician, man. Like we want to see you as an artist, just growing up, just being more experimental on the music and such.
Thank you.
I personally wanted to see you, man. I really want to see you growing.
I really, really appreciate it.
And you know, I'm also curious about. I found one of your track, "Moving Across the World Sucks," has changed into your mom's voice message. And what is that about?
Oh my god, that's so funny that you caught that. So what is up right now on streaming platforms is the correct track list. What came out was the wrong track list. So the way that it was supposed to go is "How Sweet Does It Sound" ends. It fades into a song called "A Voice Message from My Mom," and it is literally like she left me a voicemail because I forgot to pick up her phone. My mom's a little anxious, okay? Like if I don't respond to a WhatsApp call, she'll leave a WhatsApp voice message. If I don't respond to the WhatsApp voice message, then WhatsApp video call me.
She would leave.
And then if I don't pick up the WhatsApp video call, she will then FaceTime me. And then no, here's where it gets crazy, okay? If I don't pick up the FaceTime, she will call me on her actual landline. She will spend the money, okay, to make a long distance call. If I don't pick that, because in the US it's like, oh, you know, leave a voice message 4555, and like, you know, I have my phone's all the way over there, but my voice message is like, "Hi, this is Rufus Ocean. Please leave a message at the tone." Beep. And my mom left me that. She was like, "Hi, like, how are you?" And obviously I was asleep because my mom calls me at like, you know, 1 p.m. like 1 a.m. I'm like, "Mom, come on, I like need to go to bed." And she's funny like that. And I woke up to that voice message and I was like, I actually added it. I added the voice message. I made that decision after the album was done. And I was like, there's just no way I can like, you know, not leave this out. I feel like this is a very important part of my story, right? The fact that like my parents, you know, have always been very, very far away. They're still there. I talk to them, but there's like a physical distance, and that really sucks. So I wanted to add that to the beginning of 18. So I sort of chopped it up, we added the voice message, and then that goes straight into 18. So that was what was supposed to come out. It didn't actually ended up being, like, we made that change very last minute. So what came out wasn't what was supposed to, like, actually come out. But now it's updated. So it is, Moving Across the World Sucks is still in 18. Like, you can hear it. It's not like it, like, was gone anywhere. It's just, like, we just kind of, like, arranged it a little differently.
Right. And I actually really like the idea of, you know, you adding your your mom's voice message, and I just loved it, man. Like there's also a conversation between your friends, if I'm
Yeah.
right,
Yes.
and I love
So
that.
when we were writing Stuck in San Antonio, I had that voice memo on my phone. On New Year's Eve, we were in a city called Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. We were there for New Year's Eve, and my friend had a guitar, and I was just like, messing around on the guitar. And then my friends were talking in the background, and we were just like, we were having a fun time. Like we probably had a few too many, and I was like disturbing the process, and then did the thing. And when I went to Austin, Texas to write that song, I was like, okay, I want to write a song about this breakup. That's what the song's about. But I want to use this chord progression that I wrote. And I played them the voice message. We literally brought that into Logic, and then we built the entire song around the progression. So when we were track listing it, I was like, okay, let's like that is the song is supposed to start with like my friend speaking, and then the guitar, and then the song.
The song.
Yeah. But like we cut it up in a way so that like when you're listening to the actual album, everything like kind of like flows into like everything's like interludes, and everything like properly like flows. Like you can listen to it one shot. There's no like awkward gaps or anything, which is pretty cool. That like
it is.
That's like always like I've always wanted to do that in an album. So the fact that we like did that and it like worked out, yeah, it's sick.
Yeah, I'm glad that you did that, man. So glad.
Thank you.
And this year, a lot of artists doing their concert, right? And attending music festivals and such. What about a kid named Rufus? Is there any upcoming shows this 2023?
Are there any upcoming shows? Well, there are fingers crossed will be some upcoming debut shows in the US, which I'm really excited for, probably in New York City and LA, TBD. I'm really excited. I know I'm going to be coming back next year. It's in the works, but I cannot wait to play Southeast Asia. I haven't really done like a show in Malaysia. I've done Singapore. I opened for someone in Singapore. I've never played Indonesia. I know Indonesia would go so crazy,
but
Jakarta is so cool.
Yeah, right.
There's amazing scene of musicians. Also, shout out UG. I think I don't know if he's Malaysian or Indonesian. I think he's Indonesian. But he's really, he's probably one of my favorite Indonesian artists, from Indonesia. There's just so much cool stuff to do, and I know that the Indonesian fans will show up, and it'll be really, really fun. So yeah, Southeast Asia tour, fingers crossed. We'll see what happens, but music festivals are also on the list. Oh my god, if I got a We The Fest slot next year, that would be unbelievable. Fingers crossed. If We The Fest promoters, if you're listening, this is my elevator pitch to have you let me play We The Fest in 2024. Take note of that.
Alright, We The Fest, if you listen to him, yeah,
We The
hit
Fest,
him
I
up.
would love nothing more.
Hit Rufus up, man. And lastly, before we end this interview, could you ask our listeners who watch this to request your song on KISS FM?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want me to say hi, my name's a kid named Rufus?
Yeah, man, yeah.
All right,
Go
cool.
ahead.
Yeah. Hi, my name is a kid named Rufus, and please check out my music on KISS FM. Indonesia's pretty cool, probably one of the best radio stations.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Great. It's so great to talk to you, and thank you so much, Rufus. I hope to see you in person. I do really hope to see you in person. I really want to talk to you more.
When I'm in Indonesia, I'll let you know. Please send over your socials to Secret Signal. I'll make sure to follow you back and stuff.
Of course, man. I'll follow you on Instagram for sure. And I can't wait to see you perform here in Medan as well. So, if there's any chance, if you go back to Malaysia and we got some stuff right here, come on, man. Let's do some shows, man. Let's do some shows.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do my best.
Sure, man. All right. Thank you so much, Rufus. I'll see you again.
No worries. Thank you so much for your time.